DayZ in VR would be one of the coolest things ever. Now recently I got a VR headset and I've been playing a ton of VR games. And man, I gotta say, playing games in VR is awesome. No matter what I say, there is nothing to truly describe in words how cool it is when you first enter that VR game and you're looking around. It's just completely different from playing games on a flat screen. But even though I've been really enjoying games like Batman Arkham Shadows, Half-Life Alyx, and even the new Metro game that's really scary, there still currently isn't a single game like DayZ in VR. I'm talking about a game that would have you playing it for thousands of hours in a huge open world that would just keep players coming back to it for years on end. And I know in the current state of VR, there's a lot of stuff holding back a game like that from happening. But for now, let's just forget about all that and talk about what it would be like if we had DayZ in VR. One of the main things that I think would make DayZ in VR awesome would be just the small details. I'm talking about the small moments like sitting around a campfire with your friends while roasting some freshly hunted deer steak and just laughing and joking while you have a conversation. I mean, DayZ is already a pretty awesome and detailed game, but now instead of loading your magazine by pressing a button, you would have to individually, physically use your hands to place the bullets inside of the magazine. It could kind of be something like what they do in Into the Radius. I mean, that game has a ton of cool gun mechanics that I think would work well with DayZ in VR. Not to mention having to go around and physically pick up every loot that you find, and reaching over your shoulder to pull your backpack and fumbling around to see what you might want to craft. But with that being said, it would have to have some kind of really neat and clean inventory management, because the amount of items you can carry in DayZ are just insane. And in VR, it would be pretty clunky trying to go through all of those to find what you need. But what would definitely be awesome in VR would be the gunfights. I mean, can you imagine getting into a firefight in DayZ VR and your gun jams and you have to physically unjam that gun? I mean, beat it with your hand, however it is that you get that dumb cartridge or whatever it's called to eject, but you have to physically do it while in a gunfight. Oh man, yo, I'm getting a huge smile on my face just thinking about it. Imagine having to physically peek around corners, blind fire. I mean, you'd be able to do things that would be impossible on a flat screen game. I mean, the possibilities are literally endless. Gunfights in a VR version of DayZ would be epic if they managed to do it right. Even stuff like the hand-to-hand combat would be epic if they take a route like what they have going in the VR game Thrill of the Fight, or even something like Creed. But the main thing would be for them to not have it be clunky, because it's easy for VR combat, especially hand-to-hand between two players, to get clunky and messy and so on, so they would have to find a workaround for that. And something else that would be just amazing in a VR version of DayZ would be the environments. Now, not too long ago, I was playing the new DayZ snowy map, and there was a moment where I was stuck inside a house. I had to seek shelter from the blizzard, and just sitting down in the house listening to the storm go on outside, and I can see the snow blowing through the window. It was nothing short of incredible. I mean, can you just imagine a moment like that in VR? It would be, oh my brother, I can't even find the words, and I'm not even in it. But stuff like that, even as simple as walking through the forest on a sunny day, listening to the wind blow the leaves in the trees above your head while the birds go on in the background and all around you, that would be nothing short of incredible. And something else that I think they could expand on, and it would be even way better in VR, could be the base building. Now, this isn't breaking news or anything. Pretty much everyone knows that the base building in official DayZ is pretty lackluster. It leaves a lot to be desired. But can you imagine in VR having to place every single log one by one, hammering it into the post? I mean, hell, they could even give you the ability to build bases out of houses that are already there. All you'd need is some planks, a box of nail, a hammer, and you could hammer away, blocking off all of the windows from the houses. You know, maybe you could find some way to reinforce the doors or even break it down to make something actually better and more secure. But the possibilities are pretty much endless. And not to mention the replayability factor. I mean, DayZ is the type of game that keeps me playing it for years on end. Even if I take a break for a while, I'm always coming back to play more, because at the end of the day, you're the one creating the story, and every day can be something different, something you've never experienced before. And as of right now, I am yet to find that in a VR game. I'm not sure what my most played VR game is. I think it's probably The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and at most I probably have around 300 hours in that game, because I think it suffers from something that a lot of VR games suffers from, and it's once you get through that story, there isn't really anything compelling you to play it again. I mean, you've done everything, you've defeated the boss, and you can only play the same story over and over again so many times before it starts getting really boring to you. But in DayZ, there's just something different. I mean, you don't know if this player that you're seeing right here is gonna be your friend, your enemy. What is this person like? You don't know anything, and that just keeps people coming back, and it's really awesome. But at the end of the day, I think the main thing that's holding us back from getting a game like this is the technology. A lot of newer VR games are actually standalone games for like the Quest and so on. It's not playable on PC, and there's only so much you can do when it comes to the Quest. I mean, Batman Arkham Shadows looks awesome in it, and it's pushing the Quest to the max. But at the end of the day, it's not an open world game. It's pretty small, and there are a lot of hidden loading screens, but they hide it really well. I gotta give them credit for that. It's just an amazing game, but at the end of the day, it could never be an open world Batman game because the technology is holding it back. And even when it comes to PC, even something like Half-Life Alyx, which most people regard as the best VR game ever made, has a ton of loading screens. I mean, I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to technology and so on, but it seems having an open world game in VR is just really difficult. And so far, I can't say I've ever seen or played a truly fully massive open world game, something like with the map size of DayZ or something like that, even much smaller. Let's say something with the size of GTA 3. I've never seen an open world game with that size map in VR. But then again, VR technology has come a long way. I mean, I'm currently using the Quest 3 and it looks amazing playing games in the headset. And if you compare that to where VR games were, let's say 10 years ago, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it does now. So who knows, maybe in the next 20 years we'll be able to have DayZ in VR. So if you like this video, please hit the like, comment, let me know what you want to see next. I'm thinking of doing a lot more VR content on this channel, so if that interests you, subscribe, and it's your boy Baba. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.